Tim Petrowich for Dateline Marion, and I'm here with Marion head football coach Kerry Martin, and we're heading into Week 9, which is hard to believe that it's already Week 9. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about last week's game. 44-20 win over Carbondale, a game that was pretty close at halftime, and Coach, it was something you kind of expected too.
I did, and I felt like they had been playing better, and they good running backs. That big running back was a handful, and I felt like they'd be in the game. It was their homecoming. We're a big rival team, and a lot of our kids know each other, and I thought they'd play us tough. I thought we had a chance there at times, I think, to break out and take a bigger lead at half, but it didn't work out, and they got a score late in the half, and we failed to get a score late in the half, even though we scored and had it called back and had another good shot at it, and that would have been a big difference, I think, if we could have had that second touchdown lead at halftime, but it worked out. Our kids had a good second half, and it was just good to see our kids get off to a faster start this week.
One of the things we talked about after the game was that you put that ball in a lot of different people's hands. I think there were 8 different running backs that ran plays from scrimmage, or 8 different backs, including Isaac and then Schmidt at the end of the game. But kids like Adolph Paulson, Caden Hilliard, different players like
Malcolm
that, even Tommy Wilson with the direct snap. Malcolm had a really good game. Yeah. But you had a lot of kids who put their hands on the ball in the running game.
That makes me feel good. I love getting a lot of kids involved and getting a lot of kids a chance to perform, especially when the game is on the line, and to watch them play well and to have an impact on the outcome. That's a great feeling. Ike's done a good job this year of throwing the ball to different receivers, but it was good to see the ball be distributed among the running backs as well, so it's good.
And we've seen throughout the course of the year, when you're in your tight set, Jaden have some pretty good runs out of that little misdirection play. But that play's been open a couple times for Malcolm, and I think this week he really kind of took to it and ran a little bit harder and found the holes quicker.
Yeah, I think he's getting better at it. I think Jaden is pretty special back there, and Malcolm continues to play because Malcolm continues to do everything we ask him to do, and he continues to block really well. He's and Jaden has become a better blocker, and Malcolm's blocking great, and it's nice to have 2 guys that can trade off at that spot and give each other a break. But no, they're doing a good job, and it's as I said, that set has been good to us over the last 10 years or so, and it's good to see having a lot of guys kind of interchangeable in those positions.
The usual suspects had good games. Isaac was a lot better throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Of course, you had Braden with his 80-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. And I can't remember the last game where there hasn't been a big touchdown play by Jaden Lacey.
Right. He had the big cross run early in the game, but he had the touchdown call back on the jailbreak screen right before half, which was a beautiful executed play, except we had one little block in the back early in the play. And we knew it, and the kid came back and said, I did it. But he tends to find his way into the end zone. He finds a way to score almost every week, at least be a part of some big play. And that's a good thing, because I think big plays are a big part of being a successful football team. You've got to have big play potential and be able to score quick and change momentum, and he's done that for us all year.
One of the things that's maybe kind of snake bit your team a little bit at times is that you've kind of lost some momentum at times in games. Certain things have happened and it's taken the momentum away. Early in the second half, Carbondale had a play where they had a kid get injured, and it kind of stalled their offense. And instead of the momentum going away from you, you were able to seize that opportunity.
Yeah, well, that's football. I guess that's sports. There's an ebb and flow in every ball game. In basketball, they talk about runs. A basketball team will go on a run, or they got one more run left in them in the third or fourth quarter. And I think in football, it is about momentum changes. Special teams generates a lot of changes in momentum, a block kick or a run back, and we've had both of those on both sides for us. Big pass plays, a long run, a big hit sometimes can change momentum in a ball game. We've seen that before. And sometimes on occasion there's an injury situation that doesn't necessarily give you momentum but can hurt the momentum of the other team. And I think he was a starting center. He was their a senior football player on homecoming night. He suffered a pretty severe injury, and I think that took a little away from him. But I have seen injuries affect teams in different ways. In that particular case, I think it stalled them a little bit. And you're right, our kids kind of seized on it.
Talk about your defense, because I mean they got a late score in the game, but for the most part, the defense from week to week just seems to be getting a little better and a little better each week.
Yeah, they had a big job this week stopping that big running back. I mean, the majority of their offense was him carrying the football, and they had him down at 240 pounds. I would say he was in excess of 250 or 260. He was a load, and he could run. I mean, I have a lot of respect for him. If I had him, I'd give him the ball too. He was a load. I thought they did a good job up front against us. They've got some big linemen. I thought they had a good scheme, get him the football and let him rumble. And our kids, as the game progressed, got a little better at bringing him down. And maybe he got a little tired. Maybe they started figuring out, don't tackle him high, tackle him low. And but yeah, I thought they continue to be a defense that's getting better. I know it's late in the year, but this is the time, if your defense is going to start playing well, this is it. We hope to have another good performance from our defense this week.
Were you kind of surprised to see, and it was Jordan Roseman you're talking about, the big kid who ran for like 130 yards, I think, but were you kind of surprised to see him get as many carries when you have kids like Slaughter and some of the other kids that run on the perimeter?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we going in expected that Slaughter would be the guy, because he had a lot of carries against us last year and was very successful against us. And but we did a great job keeping him in check. He never really got loose. It was the bigger running back that gave us more trouble this week than the smaller, faster one. But they've got some weapons. I mean, they really do. And they've got a young quarterback, and they kind of got one-dimensional on us, and which made it easier, I think, to stop them in the second half.
You got Rich South coming up this week, a team you played last year up in Springfield. The game's in Springfield again. It was kind of a game last year where you really didn't know what to expect, and when you got up there, I'm sure it may have been a little easier than you thought. If you go back and look at their scores this year, their record is not as good, but they've been close in a couple games, one game in overtime, so that they've been right there where if you let them hang around long enough, they might be dangerous.
Well, they remind me of Carbondale, the Carbondale, Cahokia type, good athletes. As you said, a play or two or whatever, a series, a quarter away from having a better record than what they've got. They have some of the same guys we saw last year, but they're a year better. The middle linebacker's an outstanding player. Quarterback's a good athlete. Got some quick running backs, and they bring pressure on defense. I mean, they'll bring, they'll rush three down linemen. They'll bring 2-3 backers, maybe an outside backer sometimes. They will bring the pressure, so we've got to be ready for it.
When that happens and they take some risks like that, there is some opportunity for some quick passes, some power runs up the middle because they vacate some of those spots. Are those some of the things you're looking at possibly?
Yeah. It's something we're familiar with. When you run the spread offense and throw it like we have over the years, we have seen a lot of teams try to bring that kind of pressure, and of course you get used to game planning for it. So it all comes down to the execution of that game plan is the key. But our preparation has already begun as far as trying to prepare for that kind of pressure and try to exploit that. I mean, make that work to our advantage. Like you said, it'll open up some things in the passing game and in the screen game, but again, they can make some plays. And when you face a team like that, you have to be ready for the fact they're going to guess right. They're going to blitz at certain times. They're going to make plays. But you have to make them pay for that enough where they'll maybe get out of that a little bit.
You're going on the road for a 3.5 hour trip, but the atmosphere, I think, will almost be like a home game. You traveled a lot better. Meeting halfway, you traveled a lot better than they did last year.
Yeah.
And now with a couple of years on the turf here, and you're playing on a turf field at Springfield, that gives you a little bit of advantage. Even aside from the road trip, do you kind of look at this maybe as a home game?
Well, technically it is a home game.
Okay.
This is our year to be the home team at Sacred Heart, and we've played there before. We clinic there as a staff every year. Played there twice last year in a 3-week span. We're comfortable there. It's a beautiful stadium, beautiful facility, great surface. Our fans will make the trip, and we did last year in pretty big numbers. And so we look at it like a home game on the road, I guess. It's kind of a weird way to say it, but I appreciate the fact that our fans have traveled so well this year, and our schedule's not easy, Tim. We've got Galesburg and the Champaign schools the last couple of years, and now we've gone to Sacred Heart 3 times now in 2 years. So it's a lot of travel. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of, commitment by the parents to allow their kids to go through this and to come up there and watch. But we appreciate it.
You've been very fortunate this year with regards to the weather. There hasn't really been any bad weather games like you've seen in the past. A little bit of sprinkles here and there. Saturday's forecast calling for a 50% chance of thunderstorms in Springfield. Anything you do differently?
I had to bring that up. Yeah, I just thought the same thing. I thought we haven't had rain all year. Oh my gosh. Well, we have a game plan for rain, and we've done it for years, and we'll practice a wet ball drill, and we'll have extra footballs, and we'll have a towel brigade on the sidelines, keeping the ball that's not in play dry and covered. And most refereeing crews will let you enter as many balls as you want, and they'll help you, get a dry one in whenever they can. So it's not. We probably make the ball wetter in practice than it would ever be in a game, to be honest. I'm hardly ever concerned about a wet surface. The biggest concern, I think, for coaches is if it's pouring down rain during the game.
Right.
That becomes something you have trouble preparing for. I can keep the ball wet at practice every day, and we can practice with a wet ball. But one thing I can't practice is just having it rain on us, And so if I had a concern, that would be it. You're right, there is a chance of rain. Our biggest concern is our game starts at 1 o'clock. The IHSA pairings come out late afternoon, early evening.
Right.
We have to get our game concluded because our outcome will affect a ripple effect. And I don't know what you do if we have a lightning delay until 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. I guess we might find out. But that is a concern. We will be in contact with the IHSA regarding that. They'll have a lot of the pairings done, but they'll be waiting on the outcome of our game, I'm sure, because it can have an effect on who gets in, and that could affect another class below us or a class above us. And there is a ripple effect to it. So, yeah, it's an issue.
Is it better rain on turf or rain on natural grass?
Well, it's better to have rain on turf because it'll drain much easier. You won't have puddles of water anywhere. I mean, the surface will be fine in most cases. It's just if we can avoid the lightning. I'm not even worried about playing so much in a moderate rain. I worry about the lightning delays that keep us off the field and drag this thing out. But we'll see. Both teams got to play in it. That's the good thing. I mean, we played in wet games before. We played Centralia and wet games almost every other year up there. So it's something we've been through. We have a plan for, and like we talked earlier about the stunning defense, it's just something you got to have a game plan for and go out and do it.
Caden got dinged up a little bit last week. How's he doing?
I think he'll be okay. We're optimistic he'll be fine by Saturday. That's an extra day of rest for him. We spent the first part of the week watching film and game planning, and then we begin practice on Tuesday with our regular practice schedule. And I think he'll be probably back in pads by Wednesday or Thursday. He should be okay.
Okay, and then of course Jaden was back last week. Kyle Hughes has overcome his injuries throughout the season. Everyone's pretty healthy.
Yeah, we had Tucker Sullivan out with a concussion. I think he will be able to play, I think, on Saturday, but we'll probably try to set him another week if we can.
And then ask this, Dylan, is he...
Dylan,
I know he's done for the year, but is there surgery involved, or is he going to be able to avoid that?
We don't know yet. It looks like there's probably surgery involved, but we don't know yet for sure.
All right. Saturday at 1 o'clock in Springfield, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's Coach Kerry Martin of the Marion Wildcats for Dateline Marion. I'm Tim Petrowich.